Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to you. You're watching Encounter. Today we have another special guest. We have Vanysha Boodhun, a representative of the Baha'i community. What is the Baha'i community? What do they do? What is the essence? We have a guest to tell us more today in Encounter. Vanysha, a very warm welcome and thank you for being with us in this program of Encounter.
Thank you, Roshan. Thanks for the invitation.
I've heard of the Baha'i community before. I don't really know much. I've Googled, of course. My first question to you would be, when did it all start?
The Baha'i Faith started in the middle of the 19th century, and it is a world independent religion that emerged in Persia, which is modern-day Iran. And it was entrusted to a mission by two divine messengers of God, the Bab and Baha'u'lláh. The Bab means the gate in Arabic, and Baha'u'lláh means the glory of God. The Baha'i Faith is present in more than 188 countries of the world today, and its independent status as a religion has been recognized by many national governments and religious bodies around the world. It officially registered as a non-governmental organization with the United Nations since the year 1948 and has consultative status with the UN agencies for children, the UNICEF, and also the UN agencies for environmental protection. The Baha'i writings have been translated in numerous languages and is represented by more than 2,100 members from different races, tribes, and ethnic groups around the world.
You mentioned that it's from Iran, so are the texts originally in Farsi?
The texts are in the original text, which are available for study for anyone in the society. They are stored at the International Baha'i Center in Haifa, at the Baha'i World Center in Haifa in Israel. And the texts were revealed in both Farsi and in Arabic by both the Bab and Baha'u'lláh.
But you mentioned it began in Iran. How did it go to Israel?
So the Bab, meaning the gate,
Yep.
is the heralder of the Baha'i Faith. And the Bab came with a mission to prepare humanity spiritually for the coming of another divine messenger of God, greater than himself, to unify mankind and establish peace in the world. In the Baha'i Faith, the Baha'u'lláh teaches us that there is only one God, and who sends divine educators to teach humanity, to bring teachings to humanity to address the needs of the coming age in which they appear, and to unify mankind. Baha'u'lláh teaches us that the world is but one country, and mankind is its citizens. He teaches us that we are all the fruits of one tree and the flowers of one garden, each coming in different sizes, shapes, and colors, reflecting the splendor and the attributes of God. So when Baha'u'lláh and the Bab came, they appeared in Persia through a period of exile because of opposition that they faced in Persia back in the time. The exile brought them, just like other messengers of God.
Why were they exiled?
They were exiled because they came to bring a new message of peace and love. And as in religious history demonstrates to us, that every single messenger of God who appears does face some opposition while trying to bring the new divine teachings for humanity. So on that journey of exile, Baha'u'lláh went to, under the Ottoman Empire, he went to Constantinople, Adrianople, to Baghdad in Iraq, and where he proclaimed his mission to the world, that he is the promised of all ages to unify mankind and all the religions into the religion of God.
I have to ask you, when did it all start in Mauritius?
In Mauritius, in the year 1953, a German-born lady by the name of Ottilie Rhein, who was raised in America, in the US, in the United States. She traveled to Mauritius in the year 1953. And this is when she brought the message of Baha'u'lláh to Mauritius and to the population of Mauritius. And in the year 1955, a gentleman of Chinese origin, Mauritian Chinese origin, by the name of Lim Yim, joined the Baha'i Faith. And
he was the first Mauritian to join the Baha'i Faith?
He was the first Mauritian to join the Baha'i Faith,
All right.
yes.
Wow.
And eventually, the local Baha'i governing bodies of the Baha'i Faith were formed in that period. And in the year 1966, the national governing body of the Baha'i Faith was legally incorporated.
In Mauritius?
In Mauritius.
Is there a God that you pray to?
Definitely. We believe that there is only one God who created us and the whole of the universe.
Yeah.
And
is there a name?
You may call it God in English.
Yeah.
In Hebrew, it would be Jehovah. In Arabic, Allah. In Hindi, Bhagwan, or you name it, in whatever language. They're all different names of the one same God. And we believe that prayer is a conversation between the creation, us, the human being, and the Creator. And prayer is considered is one of the laws in the Baha'i Faith, whereby we're asked to pray every day and to read the scriptures, the Holy Scriptures, morning and evening.
Vanysha, what are the main teachings, the essence, what are the main principles of Baha'u'lláh?
Baha'u'lláh teaches us that prayer is a very important facet of our lives. We have been created as a spiritual being. God tells us that He has created us out of love. He has loved us, therefore He created us with the sole purpose of knowing Him and worshiping Him. And through prayer and meditation, we get on a spiritual eternal journey to know God and to worship Him. And Baha'u'lláh also teaches us that prayer is a conversation between God and us human beings, the Creator and the creation. Baha'u'lláh teaches us that consider man as a mind rich in gems of inestimable value. A gem is a precious stone that, as we dig through the depths of the earth, when we first find it, it's in its raw and processed form, covered with dust. But when the jeweler works on it and polishes it, it helps the precious stone. It reveals the splendor, the radiance of that precious stone. In a like manner, through education, education can cause us, mankind, to reveal our treasures, which are the spiritual qualities, the capacities God-given, latent in us, and enable mankind to benefit from it. That education can be scientific, academic, but mostly spiritual and moral, which forms the very basis of society.
A lot of the focus is on the spiritual growth of the individual.
Indeed, and that is an eternal journey, and on which how do we grow spiritually?
Is it why you mentioned it is important to pray and to read the scriptures, because it helps you to grow spiritually every day?
Very right, very true, Roshan. Because Baha'u'lláh also teaches us the importance of prayer, of worship and service, that it goes hand in hand. And when we are in a journey of getting to know ourselves, growing spiritually, when we pray, we also associate our lives with service to the community, whether it's through the education of the children to help build future citizens of the country,
of course,
of mankind, and also through a program of spiritual education and moral education, empower children, empower teenagers, which at that very moment in their life, at that stage in their life, teenagers are questioning themselves. The period of adolescence is characterized by a quest for an identity. They're looking for role models.
Yes.
And through a program of education spiritual education and empowerment, discovering themselves as spiritual beings, noble in nature, learning the values of kindness, of love, of respect of one another.
Do you have such programs in Mauritius?
We do have such programs.
How does it work out?
Yes, we do have such programs in Mauritius that are open to everyone, and these programs are also take place around the world, whereby hundreds of thousands of children and teenagers are engaged in that program of empowerment, but at the same time, at the central part of education is also service to the humanity, transforming ourselves spiritually through discovering those spiritual qualities, and also help transform society. Being
an instrument of service is one common thing that we do find in every religion or every spiritual journey that is preached around the world. How did this journey begin for you?
This journey for me began independently. One of the principles of the Bahá'í Faith is the independent investigation of truth. We are all, we have been created with the power of understanding. Man in the world of creation, in the mineral kingdom, in the vegetable kingdom, in the animal kingdom, and in the human kingdom, man is the crown of civilization, and we have been endowed with the power of understanding. And education also helps us to read and understand and choose and discover the truth of religion, discover the truth in all religious scriptures, and recognizing the unicity of God, the unity of all religions, and the oneness of mankind. And the journey for me personally started, my parents are Baha'is, members of the Bahá'í Faith, but as a child I was also encouraged to study the secret scriptures of other religions, the Bhagavad Gita, the Quran, the Bible, and at the age of 15, at the age of maturity, the age of 15, from the age of 15, we can decide which creed, which faith we would like to practice. So it's a God-given right to everybody to choose his own faith through a journey of spiritual discovery.
It was not imposed on you?
It was not imposed on me. It's a choice that we can all make. Yes.
And the fact that you're able to read through so many scriptures and make your own decision, it allows you also to ask more questions. Because
Indeed.
The more you know, the more you have questions. And the more you know, the less you know also.
Right. And I think the more we know also indeed opens more questions and opens the doors to more knowledge. Baha'u'lláh teaches us that other principles of the Bahá'í Faith relate to the establishment of a world government, whereby elected representatives from all national countries, national governments will be coming together in a world commonwealth and discuss the affairs of the whole world and try to work to establish peace and security and justice for everyone. And through the use of the universal auxiliary language, which is a language other than our mother tongue, which the world will decide which one language it would like to adopt as a universal auxiliary language, that will help us also explore the various aspects of society and bring spiritual solutions to economic problems, and also bring there's a harmony between science and religion.
Of course.
So all of that creates the foundation for the coming together, the establishment of a world government that will help consider the world as one country and work for the betterment of its citizens.
The teachings in the Baha'i community, what are they addressing in the world?
Right. Baha'u'lláh teaches us that the fundamental purpose animating the faith of God is to safeguard the interests of humanity and to promote love and unity and fellowship amongst its peoples. And whatever is built on that foundation of fellowship, love and unity, the changes and chances of this world will never be able to undermine its structure, nor countless centuries of evolution will never be able to shake its foundation. So anything based on that principle of fellowship, love, and unity will endure. And when religious leaders, government leaders, they will come together, they will come to recognize themselves as all spiritual beings on one country, Earth, living together and working for the betterment of the whole nation, not just Mauritius, not just South Africa, not just Israel or Iran, but considering the world as one nation. It's only then that the security and the peace of the world can be realized.
That's still a long way to go.
It's the promise of God, and I think we all believe in the promise of God, and we are all, how do we achieve that? We are all agents of that. We are all agents of our own spiritual development, and we are all have the capacity to transform ourselves and bring the change we want to see in society. Like we can ask ourselves.
As individuals, we have to be the agents of change.
Indeed, when we put into practice the teachings, we are being an agent of change. We are being the God-chosen instruments to effect that change.
Earlier in the program, you mentioned you also meditate. Can you tell me more about how you meditate? Is there a specific technique? I'm a very big fan of meditation. Please share with us.
Meditation is indeed a very important aspect of our lives, because through meditation, through prayers and meditation, we enter into a much closer communion with God. And prayers, the writings tell us that the sweetest and most secret condition is the condition of prayer and meditation, when we are detached from the world and we're in close communion with God. And it's through prayer and meditation that prayers and meditation help us to, it ignites, it helps us to discover, to become spiritually susceptible of ourselves, of us and the society. And also it helps to, it helps us to know ourselves better and continue our journey in knowing God.
Oh, sounds very interesting.
Which is the ultimate purpose, is to know God.
Which is probably the ultimate purpose. How do you meditate?
We meditate after prayers.
Do you sit? Is it an active or is it a passive meditation?
Mm-hmm. Right. We meditate in our own privacy through reflecting on ourselves and reflecting on the Holy Scriptures, reflecting on the teachings of Baha'u'lláh. And there is no collective or guided meditation. The individual is very free to pray and practice his faith, to pray in very informal manner. But the basis of prayer is, it is a conversation between God and
yourself
as a human being.
Yeah. Wow. Is there the chanting of a mantra, or you just focus on the scriptures that have been given to you?
Baha'u'lláh, in the Bahá'í Faith, Baha'u'lláh has also revealed the sacred book. It has its own scriptures. The sacred book of laws is called the Kitab-i-Aqdas, in Arabic meaning the most holy book. It is the book of laws that is also the charter for establishing world peace. So when you read the sacred writings and when we also apply the sacred writings, you ask about the recitation of a mantra. So
yeah, do you have a mantra, or do you only focus on the scriptures, or is there a specific technique that you practice which works better for you?
There's no specific technique or practice. It's mostly reading in privacy. Baha'u'lláh has revealed prayers for different occasions, and daily obligatory prayer is a very important part of our lives, as well as fasting. By the way, it was a very nice episode with Reverend Jan Ernest on fasting, and it echoes that purpose in our life in rejuvenating ourselves spiritually and getting to know God better. So there is no specific mantra to recitate. It's mostly reading of prayers and individual meditation.
In the Baha'i calendar, what are the main highlights? So you just mentioned there is the fasting. Is that a same date? How many months are there in the Baha'i calendar? Let's start with that.
Right. In the Baha'i calendar, there are 19 months of 19 days each. And right at the moment, we're in the last month of the calendar, of the Baha'i calendar. And the last month is a month of fasting, which will culminate into
The New Year? Okay.
which is Nowruz, which means essentially a new day.
Which is probably one of the main celebrations of the calendar.
It is one of the main celebrations of the calendar, culminating after 19 days of fasting from sunrise.
How do you fast?
Yes, we fast from sunrise to sundown, and for 19 days.
So no food, no drinks, nothing.
We abstain from food and drinks from sunrise and sunset.
And good thoughts.
We don't fast from good thoughts, but we do have good thoughts.
Of course.
So fasting is essentially a period of reflecting on our inner lives and making the necessary adjustments for the next year.
So that's why it's 19 days, because the 1 month is 19 days. So you fast for the last month of the Baha'i calendar.
In preparation for the new year, yes. But the fasting, the abstaining from food and drinks is just a physical reminder, because fasting is essentially reflecting on our inner beings, reflecting on our spiritual self, and making that adjustment in our life to come closer to God.
So making some small sacrifices to remind yourself that you're not the body, you're the soul.
We're the spirit, which is the very essence of our soul.
That
a
sounds
spiritual
great.
being.
That resonates with many other teachings around. I guess I do find this very common in many of the guests that come on this program.
Indeed, because the central message of all religion is the same. It is the same book that's being written by successive prophets and educators, but it's the same book being revealed continually.
At different times, at different periods in time.
At different periods in time to address the needs of the contemporary society.
So what is the message going forward then?
The message going forward, Baha'u'lláh says that he is not the final messenger of God. There will be another messenger of God who will appear in 1,000 years, who will bring new teachings to the world. But right now, our main focus is to unify mankind into one common race. And how do we make those the changes in our lives? How can we be an active contributor to bring about world peace, unity, and security and justice in the world?
Oh, fantastic.
And we each have a role as a child, as a youth, as an adult, at any age, in any part of our life, in our work, in our inner being, in our inner lives, family life, in the way we live in society.
That's great. Vanysha, thank you very much for being with us for this program. Ladies and
Thank you.
gentlemen, we have now come to the end of this program of Encounter. If you have any questions, any inquiries on the topic that was discussed, or you have any proposals for future programs, send an email at encounter@mbc.itnet.mu. Until the very next program, goodbye.